Hello, and welcome back to Sales and Business Strategy for Women, where we talk about all things business growth. So if you are wanting to learn or uplevel your sales skills, business growth strategies, and how to manage your time while doing it, you are in the right place. I am Lindsay Fletcher, your host for Sales and Business Strategy for Women. I'm a mom, wife of 4, dog mom of 2, Jesus follower, and I'm also a multi-six-figure business owner who is about to hit our first $1 million in revenue. I love sales. I love teaching sales. I love coaching sales, business strategy, and time management. And I love empowering women in business to take charge of their lives and their futures. If you haven't already, please hit the follow button on this show so that you don't miss an episode. Today's episode is a quick 5-minute sales tip for you, and I'm hoping it'll give you a little bit of an edge in looking at objections. I was recently in a consulting meeting with a company, one particular salesperson at this company that I'm doing some sales consulting work. I've been tasked with training their salespeople and up-leveling their skill set. During this particular visit, I was working one-on-one with one of their salespeople, and it became clear to me that their definition of objection may not be a beneficial definition to them as salespeople as they are listening and asking questions. And I think this is probably a common mistake that I want to address with you so that you can start thinking about objections a little bit differently. Many people view objections as points in the sales process where the prospect or customer says no, or they give you a factual piece of information that stops them from moving forward in the process. And I hope through this episode that I can widen your view of objections, because objections are really anything that stalls or halts the sales process from moving forward and or closing. So this could be a customer's timeline, it could be their budget, it could be their inability to make a decision or their inability to move forward. They can also be hurdles that you need to overcome in the process. Many times, the things that I just mentioned are actually smokescreens that people use to avoid high-pressure salespeople. So they'll say, oh, I need to talk to my husband, or oh, I need to take this back to my boss, or well, we're about 2 years out, or I just don't have the budget for that right now. If you have listened to this podcast for any length of time, you know that I believe that objections are opportunities for you to move the sales process forward. They are actually buying signals, and they are signs that you have built trust with your prospect or customer. Until this person says no to you and or purchases what you have to offer from someone else, they are still in your pipeline. Objections are also not personal, so we can't take them as he doesn't like me or she doesn't want my product because of something I've done or said. Objections are not personal. It's actually about the person that is buying. So back to the company I'm doing some sales training for and some consulting for. I recently was in a sales one-on-one consulting session with one of the salespeople there. And I was able to identify that this person wasn't properly labeling objections during the sales conversations that they were having. This person was categorizing actual objections from the customers as, in air quotes, you can't see my hands, just facts about them. And when we started this session, they told me that when a customer says that they have a timeline to purchase the product in 1.5 to 2 years, they were just taking that as fact, rather as an objection or an obstacle or maybe even a smokescreen. Don't ever take something that someone says as gospel until there's a contract signed or until they really prove to you and show you that that's the real reason. I want you to start thinking about these types of facts or objections, and again, I'm using air quotes, because they are simply hurdles that might be able to be overcome rather than just facts about the person, right? So now I do understand that this could actually be the timeline and that they could actually be being truthful with you and not just blowing smoke. But there are so many times that buyers, because they don't want to hurt your feelings, they don't want to hurt the company's feelings, they don't want to hurt their friends' feelings, They will often blow a smoke screen like, here's my timeline and it's way, way out. And so you don't need to worry about me. I'm just going to be over here looking and researching and doing this over here. So just worry about other people and I'll come to you when I'm ready. However, there is so much to be done in the meantime if that is their actual timeline. An excited buyer will often speed up their timeline if they are excited and wanting to make this purchase. If they really, really want it, they will change the timeline. Buyers will actually look for information that goes along with their want or need for your product or service so that they can convince themselves that they should move up the timeline. The timeline is just one example of an objection or hurdle or smokescreen that you might see. But again, I want you to really start dissecting the conversations that you're having and really listen for things that are going to stop or slow progress in your sales conversation, in your timeline, in the sales process. So in this particular client's industry, there is a significant timeline that they need to follow from the time the customer signs the contract until the time they actually receive the product. It's somewhere between the 10 and 12 month mark. So in this particular case, there's a lot to be discussed. There's a lot of choices to be made, a lot of customization that takes place. So this particular customer that has a 1.5 to 2 year timeline isn't actually too far off. There's a lot of selling and closing that can happen between now and the time that they sign the contract and closing the actual sale where they actually receive what it is they've purchased. That's a lot of time to build a relationship. There's also time to lock in pricing. Again, I don't want you to let something like a timeline detour you from going after the sale. Everything is changeable. I don't know if that's even a word. Is changeable a word? When it comes to a customer that wants something bad enough, everything is changeable. We're just going to make that a word, y'all. Changeable is a word. If it's not, it is now. So I want you to apply this information. I want you to go back through your recent sales conversations and identify the objections that you might have missed. This might give you a reason to follow up with the prospect or customer to learn more about their situation and or objections. Use this to help you identify them better in the future so that you're prepared to handle them in real time, so that you can move your sales process forward, so that you can close more business, so that you can live the life you want to live. All right. I went a little over that 5 minutes, but I got on a little bit of a soapbox there. Thank you again for joining me for this episode of Sales and Business Strategy for Women. If you have not done so already, please hit the follow button for this show wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss an episode. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.